YouTube, what up? We're about to go ahead and do what we do. So, welcome to you. This is your attorney at war, the attorney at law, Stephen G. James. About to tell you a little bit about what's happening in the world of Virginia politics. It seems like Virginia politics is all over the place. You got the governor in trouble. You have the lieutenant governor in trouble. Even the attorney general, the highest law enforcement agent in that state, he seems to even be in trouble. What the heck is going on? So we're going to explore that today with our audience, see what the what is, and get it on, get it popping. Today is Saturday, February 9th, 2019, the year of our Lord. We are rocking and rolling, and we're about to get it on. So here we are, Saturday, February 9th, 2019. And what the heck is going on with Virginia politics? We're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about this, that, and the third. I want to know what you people think about it. This is your Maine made man, attorney at war, attorney at law, the 5-star general in the war for truth, justice, and equality, your Maine made man. But before we get into today's topic, which is going to be all the mess that's going on in the state of Virginia, where you have the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, who is the highest ranking law enforcement official in that state, all in scandals, all embroiled in separate scandals. We're going to chop it up, get on in it, and slice it and dice it and get down with it. But before we do that, I want to tell you guys, thank you so much, all of those who have supported me all these years. Starting today, actually, this month, I'm celebrating 32 years deep in the game, practicing law for 32 years this month, and still going strong. Ain't no end in sight. Don't you worry about that. I'm going to keep it tight, all right? So don't worry about a thing. I'm not going nowhere. It's a we who run ting here, all right? So just to let you know how it goes, your Maine made man is going for maybe 32 more before I hang up those cleats, as they say, or as Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, said before I dropped the mic. So I want to thank all y'all who sent me all those wonderful well wishes and all those thanks and whatnot. You know, your sentiments and encouragements all are what keep me going. So thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it. As you know, to get in touch with your Maine made man, area code 305-984-2424, 305-984-2424. Also, 646-905-9000, 646-905-9000 for the law office. And let's chop it up, okay? Oh, there's a book out. Somebody took some time for some reason and took about 7 years of their life to write about mine. The book is called Injustice for Some, the story of Stephen G. James. It talks about my exploits in court, on the battlefield of life, fighting for just us, trying to even out the score a little bit. Not that it'll ever be even, but certainly I lend my hand and my experience, my craft, and my gift from God himself to defending those who are rightfully entitled to a good defense, fighting for justice in the court system, both in the criminal system as well in the civil system. I help people save their liberty, their freedom, and their homes and their properties. So somebody thought that was commendable and worthy. And again, they took some time out of their life to write about mine. And Justice for Some, the story of Stephen G. James, and some of my more notorious cases and trials and tribulations that I've gone through with trooping that walk with my clients around the world. You know, we've done cases in different countries, in different languages. We've done cases all around the United States in all levels of court, lower civil, civil supreme, criminal term, Supreme Court criminal term, appellate court. We've represented major international political figures, internationally known entertainers, athletes. It's been a nice ride, those 32. So I'm not going nowhere, you know. We are here to rock and chop and to and make it happen. So thank you for your encouragement. Now let's talk about what's happening with what's happening in Virginia. You know, what's the steal? What's the dealio? All right, y'all been hearing about these dudes. The governor of Virginia, his name is Dr. Ralph Northam. He's actually an MD who was attending medical school back in 1984. So about 35 years ago, he was a medical school student around the same time I was in law school. And when I was in law school at that same time, I don't remember people running around with blackface or Ku Klux Klan outfits or any of that sort of stuff. It wasn't the norm. Yes, I was here in New York State and he was in, I believe, North Carolina somewhere. But the bottom line is that wasn't the norm for 1984. If you recall, at that time, the first governor of Virginia was running for the same seat that this knucklehead now sits in. His name was Douglas Wilder. And did I say the first governor? I don't mean the first governor. The first black governor of the state of Virginia was Douglas Wilder. And it was in 1984 that he was actually running for that position. Also, we had on the national level, Jesse Jackson running for president of the United States, a seat that ultimately he didn't win, but some years later, Barack Obama did in 2008. So what I am pointing out is that while this person, Ralph Northam, the current governor of Virginia, wants us to believe that that was the norm, blackface, KKK outfits and whatnot, night riders and bigging up that stuff in 1984, that is not true. That is absolutely not true. So I remember that time. I was there, I was around, I was in law school, and that wasn't the culture. So now that he's been discovered, he's trying to find every which way to make an excuse to explain away this stupidity and nonsense that he finds himself embroiled in. He said everything from he didn't know it was on his page, it wasn't him, it was other people, he didn't know. Listen, dude, if you have a page, a yearbook page, and all of us have gone to school and seen yearbooks, you know what's on your yearbook page. It certainly doesn't take you 35 years and someone else to point that out to you. And he had a nickname that they called him. It was called Coon Man. Coon Man. C-O-O-N-M-A-N. One word. Coon Man. What in the heck, or as we say down in the South, and I don't mean South side of the United States. I don't mean South Jamaica. I don't mean South. I mean south of the border. In Jamaica, for example. What the blood clot of Ross thing are going on here? Who does he think he's fooling? Okay? Who does he think he's talking to? How dumb does he think his constituency really is that they would believe such nonsense? That he didn't know that Coon Man was on his site as well. That was his high school nickname, and he claimed he didn't know that that was even up there. He had no idea what that means. He still doesn't know why they call them that. These are all the excuses that this governor of Virginia, this Dr. Ralph Northam, came up with over the 3 or 4 days that this story was hot in the news. And the reason why this story was hot in the news for only 3 or 4 days, we'll get to. But to continue with the governor of Virginia, he also eventually, I guess after speaking with his advisors, his wife and other people, more sensible and sensitive than himself, decided to come out with a press conference, trying to explain away some of this nonsense. And at the press conference, what he said was, he did wear blackface after denying it for the first few days, even though it appeared on his graduation's yearbook page. B, it wasn't him on the page. He wasn't either in blackface or in the KKK outfit. Neither was him. He doesn't know who it was. He's not sure who put it up there. But he did appear in blackface at one point when he was imitating Michael Jackson. Who went to Halloween parties? What doctors do you know? Because you got to keep in mind, this guy, this was in 1984. This guy was not in high school, not in medical school. I'm sorry, not in college, but in medical school. So he was probably in his mid-20s at this point, grown-ass man, and he's going around, he's probably about the same age as Michael Jackson too. So you're going around dressing up for Halloween, putting on blackface and an afro wig, which is definitely not Michael Jackson, and pretending to be Michael Jackson for a Halloween party. And then the guy was about to do the moonwalk, they say, during the press conference. His wife had to hold him down, grab him by the legs and ankles, and to tell him, no, no, honey, it's not appropriate. Don't do that. That's stupid. And that's the only reason why he didn't do it. That's the only reason why he stopped. So this is what you have in the governor's mansion, in the governor's position in Virginia in 2019. And he claims that he won't resign, even though there's been calls from all corners of the political landscape demanding his resignation, pleading for his resignation, not accepting any type of apologies or explanations from him. And he claims he will not resign right now because he doesn't want to go out being known as a racist. But yet for 35 years, this racist, horrible, KKK-clad person and another person beside him in blackface lived and resided for 35 years on his yearbook, personal yearbook page from medical school. And another question we have to ask ourselves, good people, is what type of school would allow that sort of yearbook shenanigan? I don't care if it was 1984. That wasn't a whole long time ago. That was just 35 years ago in the lifetime of most of us listening in today. So would you want to attend a school like that, even in 84? Here's another thing to be cognizant of, to think of. This dude was a doctor, a practicing medical doctor for many years before, for some reason, the people of Virginia saw fit to elect him as their governor. He was a medical doctor. Who on earth out there listening within the range of my voice, within that 178 countries around the world that listen to me every Saturday, translated in 11 languages, who within the sound of my voice would go to a doctor like this with confidence that you'll get medical care in a fair, unbiased manner, according to the Hippocratic oath that doctors take, that he'll do no harm? Would you trust this dude with your children? Would you trust him with your life, as we are often called upon to do when we take ourselves and our children, our families, to a doctor? So would you trust this guy? So keep that in mind. Additionally, as governor of the state, he has the power of life and death in his hands over inmates who might be on death row, inmates who might be facing the death penalty, inmates who, but for his signature, will get that hot needle. So is he delivering those decisions or withholding clemencies and stays of executions, etc., in an unbiased, fair manner? Would you trust a guy whose yearbook page coming out of not high school, not college, but a mature doctor's age, 25 and up in medical school, and he has blackface and someone with the Ku Klux Klan outfit on, making jokes in his yearbook page, and that stood for 35 years before anyone said anything, including the medical school, including his friends from medical school who knew about it, including classmates who have a yearbook, who saw this? Would you trust this guy to make decisions as a governor over life and death or any other thing? But this dude has the power of life and death in his hands, literally by the stroke of a pen. Who would trust this guy? So, good people, I've laid the foundation on the governor of Virginia. His name is Ralph Northam once again. And there's been calls for him to resign. He's resisted those calls so far. The scandal continues, but only to be interrupted by the scandal of yet another person in office, the second in command of the state of Virginia, Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. Now, what's Justin Fairfax's story? Justin Fairfax is a young man in his late 30s who in 2000 was in college at North Carolina's Duke University. And in 2000, it is alleged he raped somebody, a fellow student who was also attending Duke University. This person does not wish to remain anonymous. You know, her name has been bandied about by her attorneys in press conferences and in memoranda. So it's a publicly known name. But before I tell you about her, the first scandal to break regarding Fairfax, the lieutenant governor, the second in charge in the state of Virginia, right under the governor, is a young woman by the name of Dr. Vanessa Tyson. Vanessa Tyson is a professor at a very prestigious, well-known university in the state of California. And what she says is that during the 2004 Democratic National Convention, Fairfax, now lieutenant governor, but back then was not in elective office yet and was not married as he is now, didn't have children as he does now. During that convention, at some point, they were together somewhere and he forced her to perform oral sex on him. And while Fairfax doesn't deny that that may have happened in terms of this oral sex, he claims it was consensual. There was never any event, and there were several according to him, but there was never any event where she protested or indicated she wasn't with the program. And the first he heard about it was in 2018 when he was being sworn in as lieutenant governor. Right before his swearing in, he had heard about it through the media. So from 2004, when this event allegedly happened, to 2018, 14 years later, Fairfax says he heard nothing about it, knew nothing about it, and she said nothing about it until he was ascending to be lieutenant governor of the state of Virginia. This lady, again, is Dr. Vanessa Tyson, who at the time of the alleged occurrence was not a doctor yet, but she was still a student in school and went on to gain her degrees and get a prominent position as a professor in a prominent university in the state of California. She accuses him of forcing oral sex back in 2004 and says that, you know, he knew that she wasn't with the program. She protested, she cried and did other things to let him know that she wasn't with the program, and he's saying he knew of no such protestations, that everything was consensual, and this is just someone trying to tear him down. Now, she was the first person to step up once the issue of Northam came forward, and it became clear that had Northam, or if Northam were, who was the governor of Virginia, were to step down, that the lieutenant governor, Fairfax, would ascend to the governorship. Once that became clear to the public, that's when the first accusation became public. And he again said, no way, Jose, I don't know what she's talking about. She's lying. She's just trying to tear me down. He is now married with children. And again, as I mentioned, he's in his late 30s. He's a very young, articulate, well-spoken, well-groomed, good presentation young man. Don't know if these charges are true or not, but he puts on a very good presentation, and he's claiming that his whole life is consistent with the presentation he puts forth today, that he's led a law-abiding, clean life. Now, the second accuser, which accuses him of the event in 2000, before this 2004 event, but she was the second person to come forward, claiming that in 2000, he actually raped her, is someone by the name of Meredith Watson. Meredith Watson claims that in 2000, while they were both attending Duke University, Fairfax actually molested her. And she told friends about it, she claims. There are people out there, according to her lawyer, who are saying, yes, we have evidence that she told friends back in 2000. And they mentioned something very curious that I had to take exception with, and that was also, in addition to allegedly telling friends contemporaneous to the event, she also posted it on Facebook. Did you catch that? Facebook. Now, we know that Facebook didn't begin until 2004. Facebook is only 15 years old. In fact, Mark Zuckerberg and others who began Facebook, I don't believe were yet in college in 2000 yet. So there's no way she could have posted on Facebook in 2000. That's my point. So maybe there's some investigation that needs to go on. In fact, Fairfax, the lieutenant governor, Justin Fairfax, is actually, once this second accuser came forward, he actually is demanding an investigation. He wants an investigation. What he says is that he wants a full airing of the facts. He wants it to be brought out in the public, that once everything is known, he will be vindicated because this did not happen. And it's noteworthy to indicate and to note that this lady, Watson, Meredith Watson, is not seeking any money. She's not trying to sue. She says she doesn't look for public spotlight. She doesn't want any publicity, but she does want him to step down. So there we have it, folks. Those are the two folks, the lieutenant governor as well as the governor of Virginia, both embroiled, enthralled in deep, serious scandals, all at the same time. Now, I did promise you 3, correct? Well, guess who's in charge, who becomes governor if both lieutenant governor and the governor step down and resign? Do you know who that is? A gentleman who is now the attorney general. As I indicated in my opening, the attorney general in the state of Virginia is the #1 law enforcement position in that state. Can somebody find his name? I know I have the smartest listening audience on the planet. You guys are the most intelligent, sharpest listening audience of any live Facebook broadcast heard around the world in 178 countries and over 11 languages. My Hour of Power with Stephen G. James, listening audience, best in the world. So can somebody check out that and let me know what is the name of the Attorney General of the state of Virginia? Well, what he did, once he saw what was going on with the governor of Virginia, again, his name is Dr. Ralph Northam, and I wouldn't recommend his medical services to anybody of color. Once this guy found out what was going on with Northam, he stepped up. I guess somebody told him, listen, dude, you better go up there and let them know about your blackface, Michael Jackson, Afro-wearing imitation self that you did back in 1980. Okay? 39 years ago. And just go ahead and own it, get it out there, and get past it. So while he was trying to get his own blackface events out there, that's when the situation with Fairfax really started percolating, popping in, and cooking in the background. So all 3 of them are in a mess. And the third person, the Attorney General, his is not so much publicized because it was overshadowed by what was going on both with the governor and the lieutenant governor. So his blackface kind of like took a third chair to all of that. But the reality is, and the bottom line is, should all 3 of these guys who are Democrats, it's noteworthy to add, they are all Democrats, should all 3 of these guys be pushed aside, the person who's next in line is a Republican. And that's interesting to note because Fairfax, just so we can keep our characters straight, there's so many in this saga, Fairfax, the lieutenant governor, seems to believe that some of his Republican political opponents are behind these scurrilous stories about him sexually assaulting these 2 women who have come forward. He says that once they realized that Northam, the governor, was on shaky ground with the blackface, the yearbook, the KKK outfit, that guy, and he, Fairfax, would ascend to the governor's seat if Northam were to resign or be put out in some way, they decided that they would cut the legs out of Fairfax. So that's why they started with these accusations, which are, according to Fairfax, politically motivated by the Republican Party and some of his foes there. And we know that, as I said, the Attorney General, who's third in line, if he, with his blackface admitting self from back in 1980, and this was in his yearbook in college, college yearbook, if he were to resign, then that leaves the Secretary of State, who's 4th in line. That person is a Republican, and that person would become the governor of the state of Virginia. So you see, folks, that's how it kind of works. You have your governor. If he's out, lieutenant governor steps up, If he's out, Attorney General steps up. If he's out, Secretary of State, who's a Republican. So I want to hear from you guys. I've done enough of this talking, but meanwhile, I want one of my greatest listening audience members in the world to go out and check out what is the name of the Attorney General of the state of Virginia, and what is the name of the Secretary of State, the next Republican in line if all these three Democrats get pushed out. We have Elaine Tyndall on the check-in. Frank Pupo. What's going on, Frank? Is it Mark Herrick, Frank? Is that the name of the Attorney General in Virginia? Is it Mark Herring? That's what Frank Pupo says, but give me the title so I know that you're talking about the Attorney General and not the Secretary of State. We have Blanca Aragon. She's watching from the West Side, right? Checking in. How do you do it? California, right? We got West Coast in the house. Hi, Blanca. Always good to hear from you, and better to see and hear from you. But thank you for the check-in. Tammy Hunt from North Kakalaki. She says Mark H. Tammy, help me out with Mark H. What does the H mean? Tammy Hunt checking in from deep down in North Kakalaki, Cam Newton territory. Frank Pupo, yep. What does yep mean? Is that yep is the Attorney General, or is that yep is the Secretary of State? Attorney General, says Frank. Okay, thank bruh. I know Frank from junior high school, going back to when Muhammad Ali used to fight Joe Frazier. We have Kimberly Smart is watching. Ike Diesel, again, West Side, West Coast, Las Vegas in the house. Venera Vox, Las Vegas in the house. Angela Dean Brown, thank you so much on the check-in. Philip Lights. Shauna Moreau, how are you? I definitely know that Shauna has a lot of opinions on these political issues that we're talking about in Virginia, not living that very far from there. In fact, I think you live one state away. So holla if you hear me. Shauna Moreau is watching. Peter Gray, what's up, Peter? Always good to have my brother on the check-in. And Gonzalez Corbett checking in from North America up in Canada. Hope you guys finally got snowed out and got dug out of all that snow you were under last week. You know, I see you, Ann. I'm watching. Shauna, congratulations. Very proud of you, dear. Thank you. Likewise. Amen. You know, I put in the work so that you don't have to. So, you know, I think she's talking about my 32 years in the hustle, in the game, rocking and rolling, being the world's best at what I do. So praise be to God. It all comes from up top. I'm guided by the man up top. I'm just a vessel that he uses to do his good works and good deeds. Thank you again, but all praise is due to God, Shauna. Thank you, my dear. Who do we have? German Rodriguez is watching. Herman, how are you, brother? Where are you checking in from? Let me know where you're at, Herman. Philip Lights again. Amen, says Shauna. That's right. Armando Ortega, ¿cómo está usted, hermano? Un placer verte. Siempre feliz sábado. Okay, we have Angela Dean Brown watching. Hey, Angela, come on. I want to hear from you. Guys, don't just check in. I want to hear from you guys, too. Let me know what you think. I mean, I had a whole mouthful to say. Let me hear from you. What's your opinion? Do you believe some of the accusations? Do you believe the excuses that the governor of Virginia said? This Northam guy, Dr. Ralph Northam, claiming he didn't know that this was on his yearbook page. It wasn't him, blah, blah, blah. You know, let me know what you guys think. Ike Diesel, you know you always have a lot to say. Ike, talk to me, brother. Let me hear you, okay? Holla if you hear me. Kimberly Smart, the Commonwealth sucks. Which one? The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania or Virginia? Which one sucks? All of them? Come on, Kim, talk to me. You're smart. Holla if you hear me. Tammy Hunt is watching. Sonia Johnson. Hey, So, how are you? This is my girl, Sojo. Sonia Johnson checking in. What's your view on what I said? What say you guys? Kimberly Smart, Shauna Moreau. Tammy Hunt says, good afternoon. Love your show. Very interesting material you speak on. Thank you. I try to bring you guys the stuff that you're not going to hear, Tammy Hunt, on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, public radio, you know, all that. They all talk about the same stuff. If you want to hear about the Mueller investigation, or what was that girl who slept with Well, that girl. Which one? What was the one who got paid off by the lawyer, the $130,000? If you want to hear about her story, if you want to hear about Donald Trump and who he's sleeping with next or who he slept with last night that wasn't his wife, y'all got to tune into those other programs. But if you want to hear about stuff that is of importance to you and to our community, and by our, I mean people who are like-minded, you know, people who think like us, people who have the values that we have, things that are of import to our lives that help shape and make our everyday lives better or worse, this is where you're going to get it. The Hour of Power with your main made man, the attorney at war, the attorney at law, your 5-star general in the war for truth, justice, and equality. The man on the field calling the shots, Stephen G. James. That's what we do here, and this is how we do. So thank you, Tammy Hunt. I definitely appreciate you. Who else we have on the check-in? Heather Fraley. Hey, Heather, it's been a long time. Thank you for coming back. Nadala John is watching. Thank you so much for checking in. Shauna Moreau says, no, sir. Tomas Nagy is checking in. Thank you, Tomas. Tomas is from another country. He recently moved to the United States, and apparently he's enjoying life here in the US of A. I'm always interested in hearing from you, Tomas, and what your views are on different subjects, as I know you often do chime in. So definitely don't be shy. Don't be a stranger here today. Thank you for checking in, Tomas. Letitia is watching. Thank you, Letitia. Appreciate you. Elaine Tyndall. Hey, cuz, how are you out of Jamaica, Queens? What's good? Mount Zion Baptist Church in the house on the check-in. Thank you, Elaine Tyndall. Hi, says Elaine. Frank Pupo. Very interesting, Frank. Frank says the same thing happened to Al Franken. Can you give us a little bit more history of that? The same thing happened to Al Franken. What same thing happened? I know that he was embroiled in some scandal, and before it got too hot, he resigned from the Senate, and he left the face of the political landscape. So give us some more background, Frank, since you brought it up. Blanca Aragon, I'm still waiting to hear from you. Tammy Hunt, hello. Frank Pupo, yep. Ann Gonzalez sends love. Thank you, Ann. Right back at you. We go back, whoa, junior high school again, as well as Frank Pupo. Very good. Kemma Gill is watching. Hi, Kemma. What say you about these subjects that we've been talking about? Do you believe the accusers of the lieutenant governor? What's his name? Fairfax. Do you believe him? Do you believe them? Do you have no opinion? And this is not just for Kemma, this is for everybody. I want to know what your opinions are on the subject matter. Do you think that this is some sort of political witch hunt by the Republicans against Fairfax, as he's claiming, and that these women, while he knows them and has admitted to having some contacts with them in the years that they have discussed, were put up now in 2018, more than 15, and in some instances almost 20 years after the event, to try to bring him down politically? Or do you believe that they simply were hashing it out and milling it about in their minds, and it took them until now before they came forward for their own reasons? Had nothing to do with politics. What are your views, guys? Let me hear from you. Mildred Toupee Grenade, very good. She's checking in and watching. Hi, Mildred. Frank Pupo says that Virginia is a lovely place. Great people. I guess it depends on your experiences, my brother. I guess it depends on your experiences. I know that Virginia wasn't a lovely place full of great people in 1855. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, and I know I'm not, that was the first state that held slaves in this country. So, Frank, everything is subject to interpretation, my brother. One love. Frank Pupo, Stormy Daniels. That's right, Stormy Daniels. If you guys want to hear about her, you've come to the wrong place. That's Donald Trump's peep. You know, he gave her $130 to try to keep her mouth shut, and she still couldn't keep it shut. Now, his lawyer who paid her is actually going to jail. Stormy Daniels. Thank you, Frank. I know I can count on my man from junior high, JHS, 1976. Peace, Frank. Shauna, I wonder if these people doing the blackface know why it's offensive. I think they do, Shauna. Just like you know why it's offensive, I think they know why it's offensive, but they don't give a damn. They do these things because in the good old boy network and in the good old way of doing things, this is just funning. You know, these are just good old boys funning at the expense of the darkies. They don't give a damn what black people feel. They don't give a damn how it may hurt you. They don't give a damn about what it may lead to, about all of the people who have died and all of the oppression that people of color have experienced. They don't give two damns about that. So it's not a matter of them not knowing why it's offensive. They don't give a damn. I hope I'm answering your question clearly. You know, when you don't care about a people and you don't care about a pain and suffering and a history of a people in this country or any place else, you only care about your own entertainment and enjoyment, then you don't give it a second thought that it's offensive. You don't give a damn. That's why the yearbook committee approved those pictures. Don't forget, when you get something in a yearbook, whether it's high school, college, junior high school, wherever, medical school, law school, professional school, graduate school, when you have a yearbook, you have to not only submit photos that are going to go on your personal page, but you also have to get them approved by the yearbook committee. There's a committee who puts that book together, okay? It's not done in a vacuum. It's not just some book that's just put together willy-nilly and one day your picture's on it and you have no idea how it got there, which is what this Dr. Ralph Northam would want you to believe. No, that's not how it works. It has to be submitted, it has to get approved, and it has to be published and printed. Even the publisher, whoever put that book together, should have flagged that. At so many levels, that nonsense should have and could have been flagged and wasn't. It was approved at every level. From Northam, who submitted the pictures for his page, to the yearbook committee who approved it for the book, to the people who put the book together, to the faculty advisor or advisors who were over the students, you know, overseeing the book being put together properly, to the publishers, and to the people who actually, the professionals who put the binding and put the book into book form. All of those entities could have stopped this at any point. Nobody did. And for 35 years, from 1984 to the present, it stood fine as part of the yearbook of that year from that medical school. So offensive, they didn't give a damn. Tammy Hunt, thank you. No, thank you, Tammy, because without you, there's no me. Without we can't do the show. So you are one of the 178 members of countries around the world who join in and tune in every Saturday to hear your main made man drop it like it's hot, give it to you raw, because that's what you came here for. So I thank you for listening, and I'm going to give you more and more and more, because without you, there's no me. That's why we make it we. And when I say we, you know I don't speak French, so it must be W-E. Oui, monsieur, okay? The history of blackface, Pupo, that's it in a nutshell. You got that right. Mildred Toupé, thank you, Stephan. Amen to that. You're welcome. I'm here to serve you better. That's why when some people see some of the ads for my law practice, for example, and it says, just call us the lawyers you can trust because we work harder to serve you better. When you're doing this type of work and you're trying to work in the name of God for the good people who are out here suffering, and you're a 5-star general in the war against a war for truth, justice, and equality, against inequality, injustice, and falsehood, then you have to work harder, because the enemy is always working harder himself and herself. You know, they're always building more barriers, more walls, making it higher and higher to achieve. So we have to work harder. Some people say, no, why do you say you work harder to serve better? Why don't you say you work smarter? Well, my response is, I'm always working smarter, but you got to put that time in. You know, I work 12, those people who know me personally know I work 12, 16, 18, 20 hours every day. Every day. Up 5 a.m., down 10, 11, 12 at night. Every day. To serve you better. Okay? So thank you, Michelle Harrison. You're watching. I see you. I'm listening, says Michelle Harrison. Good thing, but I want to hear you talking too. I want to know your opinion. Gwen K. Mounty. How are you, Gwen K. Mounty? GKM in the place to be for you and for me. And that's right here in the hour of power, right here on Facebook Live. And now, folks, we are on YouTube. What's the dealio? I'm streaming live as well on YouTube as well. So hi, my YouTube friends out there. This is your main made man from the law firm of Stephan G. James, Stephan G. in the place to be right here on YouTube. Okay, letting you guys know what's up. And this is your main show, The Hour of Power, hosted by your host with the most, attorney at law, Stephen G. James. And Frank Pupo writes, we, O-U-I. That's right. Frank, by the way, real quickly, how is Marrakesh? I know you were out there in Morocco, in one of my favorite cities, Marrakesh, having a good time, staying in the fancy hotels and just enjoying the lifestyle out there and the weather and the food. So definitely, let us know how that went. Shauna Moreau says, I say resign because if you're not for all people, you absolutely don't need to be in a position to make decisions for them. Are you talking about the governor, Ralph Northam, Shauna? Because I spoke about 3 individuals. Or are you talking about all 3 of them? Who are you referring to? All 3 or one? Or be more specific, because we're talking about, just for a recap for the people who just checked in, Dr. Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia. He's being asked to resign because of what was found on his 1984 medical school yearbook pages. Blackface on one person and an afro wig, and pink lips or red lips, and a Ku Klux Klan clad person right next to that person on the same photograph, in the same photograph on that same yearbook page. People want him out. We're also talking about the lieutenant governor, whose name is Justin Fairfax, the lieutenant governor of Virginia. People want him out due to some sexual assault charges that have been recently levied against him by 2 women, one from 2000, the other one from 2004, when he was in college in 2000, and in 2004, while he was attending the DNC, Democratic National Committee's convention. So that's the second person. And also the third person is Herring, who is the Attorney General, the highest law enforcement agent in the state of Virginia. He now is in scandal because him in blackface was discovered in his college yearbook back in 2000. Frank Pupo says Marrakesh was beautiful. I hear you, bro. I also spent New Year's in Frankfurt. That's what's up. Travel is so important. Went to Marrakech, Fez, Great Atlas Mountains, and the Sahara Desert. You did your thing, Frank. I don't know how long you were there, but I know you were on the move each and every day. I hope you took a moment to kiss the ground. From me, kiss that ground, because I know that's just a beautiful place. Did you watch any belly dancing or any of the traditional things that you see there in Morocco? Talk to us. Sometimes I can only get to travel vicariously through good people like you. I thought initially he should resign, but they're trying to get all 3 of them out. Something's fishy. Well, you saw my breakdown, Frank. You heard me break it down politically and the implications. Should those 3 guys be moved out, who's standing? Who's the Secretary of State? A Republican. I need somebody to get me the Secretary of State's name too, the current sitting Secretary of State in the state of Virginia. Anita Pressman is checking in. Pinky Bayakika checking in. Hi, Pink. I'm hoping you're enjoying your trip to Denver. I know you recently got there, had a long trip, flight, the whole 9. I hope everything went well on the flight, and I hope you're enjoying your stay there. Safe travels and enjoy. Thank you for checking in. And whoever you're visiting, I hope you hipped into our program, The Hour of Power, hosted by your main-made man, your host with the most, he who is too sweet to be sour, the one with the power, Stephen G. James. Okay? So please let them know about our show, and I'm glad you're checking in. Frank Pupo says, yep. See? He seconds what I said to you, Pinky, for sure. Anita, what's good? Talk to me. What do you feel about these topics we've discussed? Ann Gonzalez, I want to know your opinions. I want to hear from you guys. We only do this because we know that you can go and tune in to CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, all the alphabets. But they're not talking about these topics. They're not talking about the things that are of importance to our community, to our children, so that we can help make the world a safer, brighter, better place for our children, for like-minded people. That's what I mean by our folks, our people, the ones who think like we do, who have the same values as we do. Not those folks who are out of touch, who have shut down the government and caused 800,000 people to go without paychecks. Not those guys who step up on TV and say things like, oh, can't they just go to a bank and take a loan? Can't they take a loan out to pay for these shortfalls? They'll get the money eventually. Not people like Donald Trump's daughter-in-law who says, oh, this is just a small price to pay. Some people actually want to encourage us to continue with the shutdown. No, this is not the place for people who are so out of touch that they have no empathy, sympathy, or care in the world about the people that they hurt with their frivolous, flippant decisions. This is the hour of power. Your show, your international conversation broadcast around the world, heard in over 178 countries, translated in over 11 languages. This is your show, where information and exchange of ideas amongst us, about us, for us, about things that are of importance to us. You hear me? Holla if you hear me, folks. Let me know you're there. Who else is on the check-in? We have Andrea Pope. Hi, Andrea. Very nice. Kennedy Polanco. Hey, checking in from La República Dominicana. Kennedy Polanco, ¿cómo está usted y la familia entera? Tu madre, tu padre, tus hermanos. Jimmy, ¿cómo estás? Ok, saludo toda la familia de mí a ustedes, ok? Kennedy Polanco en el check-in. Y Kennedy, yo quiero escuchar cosas de ti también, de las cosas que estoy hablando. Tú puedes contestar en español si tú quieres, no problema, pero yo quiero tú participar en esta conversación, ok? Who else is on the check-in? Gracias, Kennedy, gracias. Háblame. Kelly Thomason is on the check-in. Anita Pressman is watching. Andrea Pope is coming in asking, what's the topic? Just checked in. Well, Andrea, and I know that you're normally on top of our game here, we have been talking for about 45, 50 minutes about what's going on in the state of Virginia, all the turmoil and all the scandals that are swirling around all three of the top state officials, the governor, the lieutenant governor, as well as the attorney general in the state of Virginia. The governor's name is Dr. Ralph Northam. Blackface was found on his his medical school yearbook page from 1984, as well as someone dressed in a Ku Klux Klan outfit. We're talking about Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. He'd be second in charge should the governor resign or step down or get put out. But he, of course, is facing sexual assault charges and accusations from events that allegedly occurred in 2000 while he was in college, as well as in 2004 during the Democratic National Convention. And of course, there's the last person who is the who's the Attorney General. He has his own blackface scandal because blackface was found on his yearbook page from college in 2000. So the question now becomes, should these people resign? Should they stay? But if they all resigned, guess what happens? They're Democrats, all three. Should they all resign, the Secretary of State, the fourth person in line after the governor, or the third person after the governor, is a Republican. And Justin Fairfax has said that he believes, at least to the extent that his accusers are lying, he says, and he believes that the Republicans are behind putting these women up to these scurrilous charges. I can only say that it wouldn't be the first time that has happened. And it's something, as Frank Pupo said, something smells, something is afoot, something's up. So that's what's going on, Andrea Pope. Talk to me, let me know your views. You know the topics. Now I want to hear from you. Luther Davis on the check-in. Lulu, what's good? What's going on? I'm very happy to see that you checked in. Michael Roth, buddy from, Forest Hills, Queens, checking in. How are you, Michael? You know, your opinions and thoughts and prayers are always welcome. So I definitely want to hear from you today. Don't let this show go off the air without you chiming in. Michael Roth, same to you, Luther. Chime in. David Fisher, you heard. Definitely want to hear from you, DF. Want to know your opinion on all these topics. Should these guys all move out? The governor of Virginia, lieutenant governor of Virginia, and the attorney general of Virginia, and let the secretary of state run the state for the rest of the term that the governor has remaining. Should that happen? And by the way, folks, I believe this governor and lieutenant governor were sworn in 2018. So he's only been in office for a short time, not quite 1 year yet, or just about 1 year. What do you guys think? Should he go? You know, should the governor go because of the blackface and the KKK clad guy on his yearbook page that he claims he didn't know about initially? Then he admitted that he dressed in blackface a couple of times at a Halloween party or attending costume parties as Michael Jackson. Should he stay? You know, he says he doesn't want to leave because he doesn't want to leave the stench of being called a racist in his wake should he resign now. He doesn't want to be known in history as a racist. So he doesn't want to leave now under these circumstances. That's his excuse. What do you say? Okay, Michael Roth, Luther Davis, David Fisher, I want to hear from you guys. Then we have Justin Fairfax. He's been accused of sexually assaulting 2 women so far. Both Wednesday and then again on Friday, these accusations came out. These separate accusations came out, one on Wednesday and one on Friday. What do you think? Are they politically motivated? Do we believe him? Do we believe the women? Do we believe one of the women and not the other one? Talk to me, guys. Okay? One of the accusers of Fairfax, her name is Dr. Vanessa Tyson. She claims that he molested her in 2004 during the DNC convention, forced oral sex from her. She's a prominent, well-known doctor, PhD, and professor in a well-known California university. She stepped forward. She gave her name. She gave details of the event. But again, Fairfax says it didn't happen the way she recalls it, and it was 14 years ago, almost 15, 2004. Where was she all these years? The other accuser is Meredith Watson. She says that in 2000, this guy out and out raped her. She struggled, she cried, she pleaded, she did all the things to let him know that she wasn't down with the program, and he says he doesn't remember any of that. You know, the way she's describing it, nothing went down like that. And where was she since 2000 till 2019? She claims, hey, she sees that this guy's ascending to public office. She thinks it's her civic duty to step forward and to say something. So she's now saying something before he becomes the governor of Virginia. She made that very clear. She wants to stop this and let the public know who they're getting. Similar to the Brett Kavanaugh situation, she says. She also says she's not looking for publicity nor money. She's not planning on suing. She just wants the public to know, and she wants him to resign from the lieutenant governorship and step away and go away. She made that very clear through a statement held in a press conference, through a statement in a press conference held by her attorney on yesterday. Do we believe her? Is she lying? Does she have motive? So these are things that are out there. That's what we're talking about. Andrew Pope, no, they should not resign. That's Andrew Pope. Pinky Bayakika, yes, he should go. Now, you guys got to tell me who the he is, because we're talking about 3 different people. So when you say he should go, are you talking about the governor? Are you talking about the lieutenant governor? Are you talking about the attorney general? I can't really tell. In office for Virginia, no, they should not resign, said Andrea Pope. Michael Harrison, I believe him. I'm assuming, Michelle Harrison says she believes Fairfax. Okay, when you say that, I know you're talking about Fairfax because he's the only one who has an accuser or accusers that he's resisting, whereas the other 2, they're simply trying to explain away something that they're already caught in. You know, there's no question that these things are on the yearbook pages of both the Attorney General and the Governor of Virginia. So they're not contesting it, they're just trying to explain it. Whereas Fairfax is contesting the accusation. So you're talking about him, Michelle Harrison. Thank you. And Gonzalez Corbett says due process should happen. Innocent until proven guilty. Each one of the 3 cases are different and should be judged accordingly. Well, I think, like I just said, the lieutenant governor, his case stands aside because those are criminal actions that can be, I guess, tried by a trier of fact. There should be evidence for, etc. The other 2, both the attorney general and the governor, they're caught dead and stinking. In fact, the attorney general, he stepped forward with his yearbook before anybody even said anything, after 30 years, of course. And he, when he saw what was going on with the governor, admitted to what he had done in 1980. You know, wearing blackface, cooning around, taking pictures, blah, blah, blah. But again, his story didn't stay in the media that long because he got sandwiched out from the story of the governor and then the lieutenant governor. His story came, the Fairfax accusations came rushing up right after the attorney general was admitting to being involved with blackface back in 2000. So that story kind of got pushed aside. By the way, good people, while you're mulling what I'm talking about, I'd like to let you know that somebody took 7 years of their life to write about mine. And the book is called And Justice for Some, the story of Stephen G. James. I hear it's pretty good. Haven't read it, but I definitely would urge you guys to let me know what you think of it if you get a chance to read it. It's written by Hugh N. Griffin, and it's published on Alexander Press. They have forwards by Imhotep Gary Bird, forwards by William Kunstler, very popular attorney with whom I've worked when I was representing the Nation of Islam in a number of their cases in the past. William Kunstler was co-counsel to me on a number of high-profile cases. He did a forward to this case, as well as the Reverend Al Sharpton, who is a host of some pretty popular programming in and around the city of New York. Can you guys see that? Kunstler, Imhotep Gary Bird, Al Sharpton, these guys all endorsed this book. And your main made man, of course, Imhotep Gary Bird, Kunstler, William Kunstler, Al Sharpton. They wrote some of the forwards to the book. So I would urge you guys, if you can, go out and check this book out. For some reason, somebody saw fit to take 7 years of their life, Hugh N. Griffin, that person is, and write about mine. The name of the book is called And Justice for Some, the Stephen G. James story, written by Hugh N. Griffin. Okay? And again, forwards by Imhotep Gary Bird from WLIB Radio, William Kunstler, the late, great attorney William Kunstler, great civil rights attorney, represented the Black Panthers back in the 60s, 70s, Angela Davis, H. Rap Brown, Bobby Seale, oh, the list goes on. And he second sat me on a number of high-profile, similarly situated cases around the world and around this country when he was alive, practicing with me over my 32-year career. And the Reverend Al Sharpton all wrote forwards in this book. Okay, enough of that. Oh, I want to take this time to say thank you to the folks who congratulated me on my 32 years in the game. You know, it doesn't go unnoticed, unrecognized that without you guys, just like with the Hour of Power show, without you supporting our law practice, we can't do this. You know, I'm not a one-person, one-man act. I can't do it without good people like yourself. So thank you, and all those who wish me well and continue to, on my page, you know, send good greetings and goodwill. I thank you in advance. I appreciate it. It encourages me. It's people like you that keep me going, and that's why I got into this game, okay? So, you know, it doesn't go unnoticed nor unappreciated. I thank you and appreciate all of you who encourage me to go on and on and on. Like hot buttered on the what? The popcorn. Do not get me started. Okay. We have Ariel Tavares from Santiago, la República Dominicana, checking in. Ariel, ¿cómo está usted? Un placer. A verte, hermano. Un placer. We have Andrew Pope. The president did not resign. I think you mean Trump. People can change. However, same barrels, no better hearings. I'm not sure what that says. What about the Supreme Court judge? Call on him to step down, and he didn't. Hell no. I do not care for the... Okay. I do not care for the... It won't give me more of what you're saying, Andrea. Nope. Can't get more. Okay. But I thank you so much. I get the drift of what you're saying. Carlos Esposito. Hey, Carlos, ¿cómo estás? How are you? Sobrino, Carlos Esposito, la abuela tuya es aquí. No, no aquí en Nueva York, donde es muy frío, pero en Miami. Tranquila, con su hija y sus nietos. ¿Ok? Tranquilo, hermano. Stephen says Ann Gonzalez Corbett. Stephen, can you post the book and author on your Facebook page? Sure, I guess I can. But just for those who are checking in around the world, who may not be Facebook friends or whatever, I'll say it again. The book is called And Justice for Some, the story of Stephen G. James, written by Hugh N., as in Nancy, Griffith. He spells his name Griffith, written by Hugh N. Griffith. And I definitely will post it up, okay? I hear it's good reading, right up there with a good John Grisham novel. Except my stuff is REAL, true to the game, real stuff, real talk, okay? Who else do we have on the check-in? Ann Gonzalez also writes, agreed, a real double standard here when it comes to the Republicans. Hypocrisy at its best. Amen, Ann. I could not have said that better. You really dropped signs just now. Thank you so much. Even Andrea Pope says, so true, Ann. That's right. You really said something there, AGC, Ann Gonzalez Corbett. It's always a double standard, and it seems like the Democrats tend to be the weaker party. Now that Nancy Pelosi is the speaker, she tends to and seems to have a lot more gumption than typical Democrats tend to display. The way she handled Trump with this lockout, governmental lockout, and other things, the way she handled him the other night during the State of the Union address, she tends to be very strong. And she seems to be doing a good job in terms of having backbone, something that the Democrats needed to find for a long time and never had, especially when it came to standing up to Republicans. So, cool. Michelle Harrison says, it's backwards to us. The book is backwards. Is it? Oh, okay. Well, if I put it up one more time, I mean, I'm telling you what it says, so it might be backwards, but you see that it exists and what it looks like, and I don't know how to make it forward, but...
Oh, you can put the front camera. Turn the front camera and put the book down.
Oh, okay. My lovely directress is telling me how to do it, but I don't want to upset the rest of the programming, so I'll just tell you, this is what the book looks like, even though it looks backwards. I don't know if that helps. Does that help? Anyway, it's called Injustice for Some, Michelle. The story of Stephen G. James by Hugh N. Griffith. You can Google it. It's on Amazon. It's available. I will put it on my Facebook page as Ann Gonzalez Corbett suggested, so you'll be able to check it there. I'm sorry that I couldn't make it clearer, and hopefully the information that I gave you verbally will help you as well. I hope you get the book and enjoy it, and then give me some feedback. Let me know if I did enough, cases, if I worked hard enough. It chronicles a lot of my high-profile cases that I've done around the country, and it talks about how I got started and blah, 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 blah. So I've been told. Okay. Who else do we have on the check-in? Anyone else? How long have we been doing this? And is our hour of power just about up? Yes, it is. We are moving towards 1 o'clock. Good people, I want to thank you so much for your checking in today. I appreciate your feedback. Ann Gonzalez, Shauna Moreau, Frank Pupo, everyone who had something to say, Michelle Harrison. I want to say thank you to all of you, Pinky Bayakika, who's on vacation in Denver, Andrea Pope, all you good people who checked in, Luther Davis, Michael Roth. I was hoping to hear from you guys, David Fisher, maybe next week, but I definitely appreciate you tuning in, listening in. Did I mention Anita Pressman was watching? Thank you, Anita. I appreciate you. Frank Pupo again. Strong participation this week, as always. Gracias, senor. Kennedy Polanco, thank you too for checking in. And all of you guys from around the country and around the world, North America, South America, Central America, the continent of Africa, thank you so much. We will continue to bring you the good stuff that is of importance to our community, to people who think and feel like we do, and whose lives are affected by these day-to-day flippant decisions that are coming out of the various avenues of power, whether it be the United States, whether it be Venezuela, whether it be Colombia, or any other country that's in the news currently affecting its people. We talk about them, and we talk about them from an angle and in a way that you're not hearing anyplace else. So praise God for that. I thank God for you and for you and for you and for you too and all that you do. So thank you, good people. May God both bless and protect you until we meet again. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Adios. Au revoir. Amen. Ciao. That's what's up. Gigi, that's what's up. Now, how do I take off the one for YouTube? YouTube. How do I power down? This has been your main made man, the man out of man power. He was too sweet to be sour. Your attorney at water, your attorney at law, Stephen G. James, giving it to you raw, because that's what you came here for. Yes. And yet today we just did it one more time. Okay? So Chichi, how do I power down from the YouTube?
I didn't do it.
Did I do? You are live, it says. How do I save it on YouTube? Come, how do I save it on YouTube?
Can you save live stuff on YouTube? I don't know. You can share it, mute microphone. No, you cannot save it.
So I had to do what I did, which was send it and then post it. Because you kept saying, oh, you have it already.